Alright, so there it is. I had to remove that whole shelving unit. There was no way I could get it out of the way and get it out of the van without completely disassembling it. I didn't want to have to do it, but that's the only way it's going to get done. And I bought a couple of panels of what they call utility panels. This is the stuff I used before for my wall covering. I got the floor done, this section of it, and it looks pretty good. You can see it's nice and shiny. Pretty happy with the way that came out. But I only went as far as there because I'm doing my work in the van one section at a time. I'm starting from the front and moving to the back. One of the improvements I made already was I put these clips on the back of this shelf. I'm going to have to move this one over a little that way because it's a little in the way right there. But I put those snap clips on there. And that holds the broom, my snow and ice brush, and my cane when I need it. And that gets that stuff all organized, because that stuff used to be just kind of sticking up in this little corner over here, and it was always falling over and rattling around and getting in the way. And so that helps organize things. Now for my next trick, I have to cut a panel of that thin 1/8 inch thick utility panel plywood to fit this opening here. And you know, when you're doing this kind of thing in a van, it's so hard to get everything exactly where you want it. You know, the distance between this back edge and that back edge may be one measurement, but the difference up front may be a slight bit narrower or maybe a slight bit wider. Anyway, it's not going to be a perfect linear rectangle that's going to have to fit into that space because of minor variances in setting this thing up. I tried using the same screw holes down the bottom for the bracket to hold it to the floor. For some reason, it came out too close to the back seat. I don't know what happened. So these things never really go according to plan. So my next task is to build a template for this space. Now, the panel that I bought, the plywood panel, is 4x8. The distance from here to up there is 4 feet. So I can shove this thing in there and it'll overlap here a little bit. And then I have this, actually it will overlap this. This is going to be right up against the metal because this is to prevent thermal bridging. I do not want the cold of this metal to be transferred to the surrounding air or to the surrounding wood by conduction. So I put this little strip of insulation here. That's called bridging. And so this will eliminate bridging, thermal bridging. So the only way I'm going to be able to do this is to cut a template. And that's why I'm going to use this craft paper. This is what I used the last time I had to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it in place, and then, oh, look at that. It just fits side to side. Well, it doesn't just fit side to side. I'm going to have to, see, it's got a little gap right there. So I'm going to have to use 2 sheets of this to cover it all. Well, anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this up here And then I'm just going to press it into place. And just press it and put some nice creases in the paper where it rubs up against these joints. And again, I'm going to have to cut another strip because this just isn't wide enough. So, and then after I've done that, and I think that I've gotten a good fit on the paper template, I'm going to transfer this paper template to cardboard. And then I'm going to take that cardboard and push it into place and see where it needs adjusting. Maybe a little cutting in one place, and maybe I need to add a little material in another place. And by the time I'm done, that cardboard template should be a darn near perfect fit. Well, all right. I have my first template ready to trim out. And this is going to be a crude fit. This is not going to produce an exact fit, but it will get me into the ballpark. Here's where it curved up around the gas tank filler. Yeah, so what I did was I just took this paper, I taped it at the top to hold it in place, and I just pushed it into the space and creased it, pushed it in, and creased it real good, and then took a pen and drew along the edge where it meets the partitions. So I'm going to trim this down, and then I'm going to take all this cardboard here, I'm going to tape it all together to form one big piece. And then I'm going to lay that template down on top of that big piece. I'm going to have to use a lot of tape all this stuff together, but I'll lay that template down on top of the cardboard, mark it off, cut it out, and then push it into the space in the van and see if it fits. And it's going to be a pretty rough fit. I'm going to have to do a lot of fine trimming to get it exact. I'm probably going to have to cut some cardboard pieces away where it might be too wide. And I may have to add some pieces of cardboard to it to fill in the space where it's not wide enough. So there'll be a lot of trimming and cutting and taping. So here we go. Well, all right, Voyagers. I took my craft paper template and I traced it over these pieces of cardboard that I taped all together, and now I have cut all around the lines. So let's take it apart. Let's pull this thing out of here. I still got a little more trimming to do. I lay it down on this sacrificial piece of foam insulation so I can cut through it. So there it is, all cut out. Now we give it the reality test here. I gotta get all this stuff out of the way. So as you can see, I'm going to need to place a little piece of cardboard right along in there because it doesn't quite come all the way up to the partition. That side's in nice and snug. I'm going to have to cut a little piece out of there, like that. So, I need a pen. Where did my pen go? Lost my pen. No pencil either. All right. It's a pretty close fit. It's not perfect. And when I push that in over there, there's still a little gap right there. But no one's going to see it. I'm going to put a shelf right there. Put another shelf right there. And down here is where my refrigerator is going to go. Yeah, no one's going to see that either. A bit right there. So it's good enough. Close enough for government work. Well, all right. Looky there. Got the wood panel in. Fits pretty snug. There's still a little thin little gap over there. That's not going to be noticeable. It's not going to be visible. And I got that board across the top all screwed in. So that's holding that panel in place now. And because the distance between these two partitions is different than what it was before, all those shelves, 1, 2, 3 shelves that I had in there, I'm going to have to trim them down to fit. Because they're too big now. It's a smaller opening. Not by much, maybe only 3/4 of an inch, half an inch. But it's enough so that these shelves are too big now. I have to cut them down. So I've made a template. I made a cardboard template for this. Ow. For this first shelf, which is gonna lay right along there. I made a cardboard template for that. And so I will trim that shelf down with the saw and see if I can get it to fit back in there. It should be okay. I'm gonna have to cut the width on these other two here, so still got some work to do to get this corner finished. But this is an important corner because that's where my refrigerator is going to go, and I'm going to have to build something for here. I'm going to need a place to put pots and pans and stuff, utensils. So still plenty of work to do to get this corner done, but once it is done, then I can start putting stuff back into the van, stuff that I'm going to need on those shelves, and start emptying out some space in my storage unit. So stay tuned for more. Marijuana, cannabis, sativa.